There you are. Hi.
Oh,
So
hello,
John
good
Mark is our Chief Executive from Stroll. Now let's just start with set the scene for us a little, John Mark, if you would, in terms of, I'm a small business who is targeting the travelers. What do I expect from an app like Stroll?
From an app like Stroll for local businesses, you're able to expect real-time engagement to receive pertinent information that's happening geographically and also in real time. Stroll is a location-based marketing resource for DMOs as well as local businesses to get their marketing messages out to engage with their target audience.
And then from a traveler perspective, again, what do I expect from Stroll?
It's a different experience. We say that local city guides are sort of a dime a dozen. So instead of creating a utility, we were focused on creating an experience. So it's going to give you the information that any other local city guide would probably provide you. However, it's going to be a different experience in that it's more personalized. You're able to pick and choose 24/7 in real time which interests come to you based on categorical selections or based on your current mood. So I think you're going to get a different experience with Stroll. Many people compare it to having Instagram being wed with a local city guide and outcome Stroll. So it's visually impressive and gives you a different experience.
And am I having to give up a lot of data to get that sort of personalized experience?
No. Very early on, we decided to limit the amount of exposure that end users would have to Stroll. One, we didn't want to we wanted to minimize the creep factor. And we wanted to respect everybody's privacy as we want our privacy respected as well. So right now, we're really just collecting email, cell phone numbers, and that's all just for you to receive additional information for a better experience.
And does it can it sort of learn more about me as I provide more information on my preferences and therefore provide an even better experience?
Not at this iteration.
Is that something that's planned going forward?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, so I'm just interested to follow up from what Zeke from Adara was saying in the previous session about the series of changes around recognizing following individuals, the privacy element. So how does that impact an app like Stroll?
The world is always changing, and these type of policies and things are going to change. And we dealt with that a lot with businesses and even talking with some of our partners that are conventional business bureaus. And our take on it is that end users now realize that to get a particular experience that they desire, they're gonna have to share some information. And all the studies, a lot of statistics back that as well, that users are more willing to share their personal data for a desired outcome of an experience. So it's the responsibility on our end to make sure that we're not disrespecting that access because of the relationship that we have with the end user. So we haven't seen it as a huge hurdle just yet.
Okay.
So yeah.
So in which case, I mean, obviously you're having to get your users to opt in, and I just wondered how challenging that is, and what are the sort of techniques you might use to get them to opt in?
So with end users, there hadn't been an issue with opting in that we've seen or heard of just so far. Again, it's sort of like I think that people perceive it as a local city guide, and with that, that you're giving some information just to get the information and experience that you desire back. The difficulty that we have now is just people fully registering and putting in their full information, like first, last name, email address, things of that sort, because we don't prevent people as a startup. We don't prevent people from having the experience for not fully registering just yet. That'll probably come down the road.
Right. So really, you just want people to try it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, have you, as you kind of get further and further with the app, do you find that some deals, some offers, services are working better than others?
I think it's really dependent on the particular merchant. We've heard some really great creativity that's worked well. For example, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and there's Lower Broadway is where all of the live music and what they call here the honky tonks on that strip. It's like the our Las Vegas strip. And one of the honky tonks said, we don't offer deals. So what we'll do is on a Tuesday when it's slow, put something out on Stroll to tell people, hey, we have a celebrity bartender coming in, come and find out who it is. We thought that was
Mhm.
ingenious. And, here in Nashville, it's nothing to have like a Garth Brooks or Luke Bryan to walk in off the street and to do a performance. So they know that that's viable. So it's a lot of different creativity that'll work. And I think that as local businesses know their customers, they know what works most.
Okay, no, fair enough. And would there be a sort of optimal time, 2 hours before an event, or really last minute, last minute?
Again, it works in different ways, but I think that what we suggest is that you put it out hours before, so you can schedule. Although you can post content geographically in real time using Stroll, we sort of suggest that if you know there's going to be a major event in a location of the city that you want to draw people from, we recommend that you put out a message maybe a couple of hours before through an hour or two after the event. So if there's a concert, again, using Nashville as an example on Lower Broadway, at 7 o'clock, maybe you post something at 3 or 4, and then you keep that up until about 10 o'clock p.m.
Okay.
And that seems to
And
work well.
I'm just wondering how kind of big a part, this is generally speaking, how big a part of a marketing strategy the sort of real time targeting would be, versus say social media marketing and small business type listing, say Google. How big do you think, location based should be?
Oh, it's huge. We follow the data, we follow the statistics and the leading trends as far as marketing. And in today's environment, everybody wants what they want when they want it. And that's usually in
Yeah.
real time. And that also means
Mm.
where they are instead of having to go somewhere else. So it's all about convenience. For the Nashville Convention and Business Bureau, Stroll is now a main channel of marketing. You'll find it advertised on their website. It goes out in their newsletters. So the personalization of knowing where somebody is and what they can be appealed to in real time, I think is very powerful. So that's one of the reasons why we ventured out with Stroll.
So how do you actually work with destination marketing organizations?
It's a partnership, so it's all about marketing. We feel like the pain points that we address are, one, local branding. So with Stroll, you don't have to download Stroll Nashville, Stroll Chicago, Stroll London. It's not overseas yet, but speaking that out there. So the branding will show up in each market that you go to once we have that partnership that's established with the local CVB. It's a value add to their members, their partners, if it's a membership-based organization, and that they receive a discount, substantial discount to use Stroll for the local business. And then they have real-time attribution analytics. I think that one thing that the Convention and Visitor Bureaus learned last year is that you can't completely rely on hotel revenues. And you also have to demonstrate that I can get people here outside of the hotels. And using Stroll is one of the ways that you can put out content, and then instead of waiting months and months later and spending tens of thousands of dollars to get the analytics back, you can have something in real time to show, okay, this content went out and this has been the response so far. We can move forward with that.
Do you feel like, you've had, or you maybe do still ongoing, have two kind of different audiences in the sort of domestic tourists and sort of, gradually maybe the overseas tourists?
Yes, I think so. Right now we are focused on North America, primarily the US, and trying to break into Canada a little bit. We have some relationships up there. But I think that going back to your previous question, that Stroll is facilitating something that I read actually in your publication. Is called real-time tourism, and it
Mm-hmm.
helped us to better coin. Like we've been working on it, and then reading the article. It was September 23rd, 2019. I remember it vividly, saying, and it was a description of services and technology. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is Stroll. So it
Yeah.
really pumped up the team, and then we rolled out with it. That's what is being facilitated. So um, we're hoping to, share that with everyone all over the world.
And would you say DMOs are ready for this?
Yes and no. I have to. It's a tough time. So my compassionate heart is I understand, but my business mind is, hey, you need to get on board. Uh,
Yeah.
Everybody's responding, and in the travel industry, we realize that I haven't talked to many, if any, DMOs that didn't lose 50% of their workforce. So
Sure.
you're talking about friends that are like family that are no longer there. The morale is a little different. You're scrambling. Your resources are a lot less. So we're trying to be as compassionate as possible, but on our end, we know that Stroll can lighten the load, particularly for marketing and engaging members and giving
Mm-hmm.
them value in a way that they may not recognize now because of all that's in front of them. So it's a double-edged sword for everybody, particularly in our industry.
And would you say that this is something that works best for DMOs kind of like in their entirety, or does it, work better for hotels or perhaps tours and activities? Would you say there's a segment particularly that you're best geared up for?
We designed Stroll to be very versatile, and I recognize that I'm giving you some really generalized answers. But early on, what we did is that we were trying to prescribe different use cases, and the more people that we talked to, the more that we learned is that, hey, we can tell them what it does, and they can create the use cases around their particular need because we were learning so much. So that
Mm-hmm.
was a great example of us learning to listen to the customer to say, hey, this is what it does. How can that apply to your business so that you can get the message out or to engage people? Because Stroll can be used as a citywide major marketing event management tool. Because I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and for the Kentucky Derby, there are different events all over the city. And with Stroll, you can manage traffic and expectations of the individuals there for the main event all over the city simultaneously, while it's also geographically based.
So it strikes me that you have quite a few competitors in this space, and I'm guessing that Google must be quite a big one. What kind of threat would you say that Google would be to an app like Stroll?
I think what I've learned is that if you focus on the competition, you can't focus on the service that you're giving to everybody else. So I haven't really looked at it like that, other than people have apps on their phones that fit their personality. I
Mm-hmm.
truly look at it as a way for everybody to get a piece. We offer a completely different experience than Google does. There are people that are loyalists to Google, Apple, or whatever else they may use to get their
Sure.
information or to facilitate their experience on their mobile device. I'm pretty confident that with our UI UX, they have a lot of information, but we have a great experience, and we do provide an experience that they do not. That's consolidated. So I try not to focus on the competition, because if I do, I can't focus on giving the service that we're trying to provide to everybody else.
Okay, but you don't see it as a kind of category killer?
No, not yet. And we've seen where if it's that big of a deal to them, then they'll come knock on our door.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
We don't always have to fight. We can find a way to work amicably together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, just as we kind of finish off here, these kind of location-based services, would you say, I mean, obviously, one of the answers you might give here is that they're going to work best via an app, but, is there kind of a best channel for kind of location-based targeted services, whether that's a WhatsApp text or an email or, as I say, perhaps an app like Stroll?
I think it depends on the user and the use case or what's being facilitated. A lot of people don't. I feel personally that it's weird when I receive location-based content and it's not tied to an app, because then I feel like I'm being monitored, or
Okay.
it comes across more intrusive. So
Yeah.
personally,
Okay.
I prefer an app because then I can know, okay, this is where this is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, I think it is best used from a singular app form like Stroll, because then it cuts back on the concern and the conspiracy around who's watching me, why am I getting this? This doesn't feel right, and people know where the experience is coming from. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think if you open the app, you're in the app, and therefore you know what's coming at you. Similarly, you mentioned the creative stuff that the guys in Tennessee were doing. What is is there an optimum creative? Is it, a quick video clip? Is it images? What's the stuff that works best when it comes to that kind of location-based targeting?
You can upload videos to Stroll. They can appear on the feed, and I would always suggest using video because
Okay.
During the pandemic, I became a TikTok addict, and we want to consume great content in short amounts of time, short periods of time. So you can upload a video up to 60 seconds into Stroll, or you can upload a static image. But we always tend to point people toward video because it's always going to engage users much more.
Okay, John Mark, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.